All right, guys, welcome back to another issue. Wow. All right, I'm going to keep that one.
Keep it.
Guys, welcome back to another edition of Goat Talk. We got Snottie Drippen, my guy James Hollis over here. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
So, all right. So, can we restart this time? Because we keep screwing up and having to restart. But
No,
I'm doing all right, man. Yeah, I'm doing all right. It's a Thursday. Weekend's coming up. Basketball is back today. Yesterday and today, right? First 2 days of the scrimmages.
Your beloved Lakers played. What did you think? Did you
What'd you say to me?
every 5 seconds? And oh no, Celtics. Sorry, you're a Celtics fan. My bad. You did watch the Lakers though. What did you think?
It's like strike three already, bro. I'm glad they lost. I fell asleep during their game. LeBron looks great. Anthony Davis looks great. Luka looked great. So, I mean, it's whatever. It's a scrimmage, but, you know, these guys getting their feet wet. But I'm glad the Lakers lost.
What do you think of the Celtics' chances?
Like everyone else's, man. It's not everybody else's. I think they're cut below the Lakers and the Clippers. And obviously the Bucks are running away with the East. So I'm gonna respect Giannis. On paper, I look at what the Celtics have, and I'm not scared of the Bucks, but we see that the Bucks are just there's something about just the belief that they have in each other and the togetherness. So like they're dangerous. They're dangerous, and they'll have the best player on the floor. So yeah, that's fine. I don't want anybody to get injured. Kemba's a little bit concerning. The fact that 4 months off and he's still having knee issues, like, it's a little worrisome, but it is what it is.
Yeah. You mentioned the Bucks, and that's our topic today for the Goat Talk. We've done a few teams, the Hornets, the Blazers, but per your request, we're actually doing a winning team for once because you got tired of talking about the Hornets and some of these bottom feeders. So
you know what's funny though? It's not even like a fun winning team. For the simple fact that, like, we saw the poll, it's like it's not even close. Like, it's not even like a good debate right now.
Yeah,
but
it'll
be fun talking about it'll be fun talking about them and their worst draft picks, but that's about it.
Yeah. So you mentioned we did put out a poll for the greatest Milwaukee Bucks player ever, and like you said, 200 plus votes, and 72% said Kareem. He was Lou Alcindor for a few years, and while he was in their championship run, changed it to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And yeah, not close. Like you said, Giannis is second, 16%. Sidney Moncrieff, Big O, Ray Allen, really not a big guy. I honestly, James, I thought there were going to be a lot of people who would say Giannis because eventually he'll be probably their best player. But do you think the people got it right here? And do you also say Kareem?
Yeah, I mean, because Kareem is basically the top three player of all time. You know, at the very least, some people would even argue, oh, why is Jordan considered better than Kareem? So, just as a Buck though, I'm sure you're gonna give us his numbers here in a second, right? Giannis just doesn't have enough time yet. You know, and I thought, like you, I thought recency bias would kick in, and people would be like, oh, well, of course, I've watched Giannis; he's the greatest. So that's good. I think they got it right.
Yeah, so you mentioned Kareem's numbers, and we've definitely seen a pattern here in the pods we've done where certain guys we don't say they're the GOAT for their team because they only played maybe 3 years, 4 years. Kareem's a case where he did only play there 6 years, but 6 All-Star games, he won their only ring, and he averaged 30 and 17, which is absurd.
Yeah, I mean, Giannis is awesome. Giannis has only really been like Giannis level the last 2 or 3 years. They really can't compete. But yeah, man, and it's funny because a lot of people, myself included, I hardly think about Kareem with the Bucks, right? I remember him, Lakers Kareem, Magic and Kareem too. So, yeah, good for him. It was, you know what? This is something about the Bucks team. Even now, they're great, right? They're considered the favorite out of the East. They just don't, and people like the Bucks fans complain about this on Twitter. Nobody cares about them. Like ESPN doesn't talk about them. Even when people talk about contenders, like, yeah, the Lakers, the Clippers, out of the East, the Bucks, sure. And even people are like, oh, I think the Raptors might. Some people even say the Raptors are going to be right there with the Bucks. So like, they're awesome. Look at their numbers. Giannis has been historic. Their offense and their defense, their net rating was like historic. But like everybody's like, oh yeah, the Bucks, and that's how they always are. Even back, like, say, when Ray Allen was there, and they were good, They were good. They were really good. But they were the Bucks. As long as I can think about basketball, it's just been like the Bucks. You know what I mean? So it's and even now that they're good, people always, where's Giannis going to go next? What happens if they don't win a championship?
Franchise.
Something about them, man. It's just, they don't get respect at all. So even though you picked a good team, a really good team, even as a Celtics fan, I'm not scared of them, right? There's no fear. I think they might win, but something about them. Chris Middleton's their second best player. He looks like an accountant. You know what I mean? So and then I don't know, just one of those teams, man.
Chris Middleton, no disrespect to him, he's probably the most boring 20-point-a-game scorer we've seen in several years.
No, that's Paul Millsap, and I love Paul Millsap. Yeah, he was a 24-point gamer. So either way, I tell you something, even now when people say All Stars, you don't think of Chris Middleton when you think All Star. Their Bucks fans will say, "Hey, our All Star, he's not." I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's Chris Middleton. He's good, and he is. He's really good."
Middleton was helped a lot by him making an All Star team. Shout out to his agent, because his agent must have said, "Look, you can't afford to lose him. You've got to pay him this slotted amount of money," which I think me and you can both agree he doesn't necessarily deserve. It's not that he's not good; he's a very good player, but he shouldn't be making the 140, 150 million that he's making.
I'll say this: there's a lot more players I can think of who don't deserve it, who haven't. Yeah, there are other players I can think of with bigger names who deserve it less than him. I'll say that because, again, I'm being honest here. I would love him on the Celtics. He played a lot of power forward early in his career, so he's switchable. He can play 2 through 4. He's a smart defender. He shoots 3. He can actually score a lot of ISO. It's true. Somebody was saying, look at the Bucks when he's off, when Giannis is off the floor, they're still really good because he's on the floor. He's a good passer, not a strong rebounder, but who cares about that really? But Middleton, he's good, man. He's really good. And if we're saying what's his contract?
Let's take a look, because I know.
I want to say he got 170. Yeah, you can go ahead. You look it up. I'll say this: when they played the Celtics, even last couple of years when they played the Celtics, the dude was incredible. And I know this, so it's not just my bias saying this, but I just from watching, he doesn't miss. He shoots over. He's great at the mid range, shooting over smaller guys. He's strong enough to post up smaller guys. He's a smart player. He can, he pass out of the post, pass out of the double team. The dude could, what's his contract?
So you got 5 years. Take a guess what the number is.
I thought it was 180.
178. It's
180. So it's a lot of and you're paying him. We're doing 30-something million a year. That's what you pay when you're teaming with the Bucks, you pay a premium to keep talent. He's an all-star.
100%.
So I get it, but I would rather pay him that than pay D'Angelo Russell his contract.
Yeah, I mean, he's 20 years old. He's making 30 this year, 33 next year, 35 the year after, 37 the year after, and then he has an opt-out. A player, well, he's all right. He's spoiler alert. In 23-24, when he's 32 years old, he's going to exercise that 41 million a year player option.
Oh, he's opting in, yeah, 100%. So, his game is not predicated on athleticism. So, I don't think he's that. I think his contract's not gonna. I mean, if Giannis isn't there, let's say for whatever reason Giannis leaves and they just have him on that contract, it sounds way different. And you sound like you're paying max money for a secondary player, a Robin, but
it's compounded by the fact that they have another player on their team who gets I'll call it a generous contract. It's actually not that bad over time. I thought it was gonna be worse, but Eric Bledsoe is on a 4-year 70. I honestly thought it was way worse than that, but
yeah, $17 million a year for a starter is not terrible. It's a lot of money, but whatever. Yeah, man. And right now, Giannis ties it all together. So yeah, if we look back, we had the same podcast in 2030, and Giannis is still there, and say took him to a ring, and he was just a couple MVPs. Obviously, he's going to be in the discussion, right, for the longevity. But Kareem is just Kareem. So yeah, man. Your team is
Knicks.
I know I'm laughing. Your team sucks. You would love to have Middleton on your team. You would love it.
He'd be the best player on the team.
Absolutely. And then sure, he's not a LeBron, and maybe he's, I don't know. Some people say he's on the level of Jimmy Butler, second level star.
He could win you a playoff
So
game.
yeah, maybe he's just one of those players. Do you think he's better than Jason Tatum?
I think right this second he is, but in 2 years he won't be. I think.
Yeah, but that's like right now. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like,
yeah. Chris Middleton.
is he better than Pascal Siakam? I think so.
Siakam showed some stuff last year, though. I mean, he won finals games, and there's a lot lesser
But
people.
he won them with who?
I mean, Kawhi, they had an incredible team, but he showed out. Is what I'm saying.
He was the second option. You know what I mean? And so, like, I don't know, man. But we're falling down that rabbit hole. Yeah. So there you go. Kareem. It's Kareem. Kareem is awesome. Skyhook, signature shot that one of the most recognizable shots in all the sports, or signature moves in all sports. A great ambassador to the game. Also, like, even now, he's so smart, and he's so, like, self-aware and aware of what's going on in the world. That makes him even better. But yeah, Kareem is the man.
The crazy thing about him is, if the Lakers didn't have such a storied history, if they didn't have Kobe, Shaq, Wilt, there's an argument that he's the best player that's ever been on 3 teams, the UCLA and the Bucks and the Lakers. I mean, he's probably not the best Laker ever, but he's the best Buck and UCLA player ever, and both of them, he's probably like the second or third best Laker ever, maybe third.
I mean, yeah, like I said, a lot of people, if you like look at the numbers as a Laker, a lot of people might sometimes say he might be the greatest Laker. His nickname is the captain. So yeah, he's up there. The fact, like, yeah, look at his college success, pro success. That's when people start asking, well, why is Michael Jordan the greatest all time? Look at what Kareem has done. So yeah, that's again. Look what we're talking about. The Bucks. This is the Bucks podcast, and we're like, all right, let's try to find something interesting to talk about the Bucks.
So
what's next?
Yeah, so I'll just say, just to wrap this conversation up, because obviously it's one-sided. I wrote a couple other names down that are worthy of mentioning. I'll just say Ray Allen, in his 7 years as a Buck, was 20, 4.6 and 4, 3 All-Stars, was traded. So this is a draft regret. He was traded at 27 years old for a 34-year-old Gary Payton, who they only had for 1 year, and Luke Riddenauer. And they also got him for Steph Marbury on draft day. So they were the beneficiary of a good trade, and they made a terrible trade involving him.
I mean, yes, they probably could have got more for him. But at the same time, that era was over. They knew it was over. Like, the Ray Allen era was over. They were moving on. Yeah, could have got more for him. And he still had a lot left in the tank, as we saw with the Celtics. But he wasn't Ray Allen of old, So
he probably had his best years. I mean, he was a good Sonic too, but his prime years were in Milwaukee, and he had a hell of a run. Like I said, 7 years, 3 All-Stars, 20 a game. That was when you know this. That was when he was throwing down on people. Like, people, there's a lot of people who sleep on his athleticism. Yeah,
I think a lot of people only see Ray Allen and think Celtics, where he's just basically a spot-up shooter, run off screens, whatever. Ray used to have the ball in his hands, man. Ray used to be like that guy. He was 6'5", he had bounce, he dunk on people, he hit baseline reverses and had handle. Ray was, I think a lot of younger people don't understand Ray Allen used to be what makes him better than like Reggie Miller? He was way better than Reggie Miller. I think it was way better than Reggie Miller. Reggie gets all the accolades because of the era he played in and the Knicks stuff. You give me Ray Allen 10 times out of 10 over Reggie Miller, and I'm happy.
Reggie wasn't as versatile with his skill set.
Absolutely. That's the thing. Like, yeah, Reggie didn't have the handle to bring the ball up and initiate offense.
He wasn't dunking on people.
Yeah, Reggie had a couple nice ones, but yeah, exactly. He wasn't coming down the middle and posterizing. He, hey, Reggie did his thing and in a very specific way. While Ray, you can gotta give the ball and let him go. So it's a lot of people don't realize that thing.
Yeah, UConn great Ray Allen will definitely be in the Hall of Fame. He might already be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if that induction happened yet, but
I don't think so.
But yeah, this is an interesting pick, the Bucks, because sometimes we've done teams who they might not even have a Hall of Famer. And the Bucks have a few. The only other one I had written down, a guy who was on the Bucks his whole career, was Sidney Moncrieff, Hall of Famer, played there 10 years, 5 All-Stars, 17, 5-4. He's not their best player ever, but he's he was solid. They have, I'll say this, James, the Bucks have always had talent over the years. There were a couple years where maybe Ray Allen was trying to keep them afloat, Michael Redd was keeping them afloat, but they've always had talent.
I don't know, man. I'm thinking about the Dan Gadzuric years. They had some down years.
The Glenn Robinson years.
Tim Thomas. And like Glenn's fine. You're right. Yeah. Come on, Glenn Robinson, though. But yeah, man, I could pass Sidney Moncrieff on the street tomorrow. I wouldn't know who I was passing. That's the whole franchise, man. They're just a very kind of forgettable franchise. I don't know.
I'll say this about the Bucks, and you probably agree with this. There was a time not too long ago, probably within the last 5 to 10 years, where they were 100% in trouble and at risk of being relocated. And if they didn't get Giannis, that new stadium probably doesn't get built, and or arena doesn't get built, and they're probably in Seattle or wherever at this point, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it's Milwaukee. I know Milwaukee, and it's not like disrespecting anybody in Milwaukee, because I hear it's kind of cool place sometimes, but like the Midwest is hard to sell to NBA players, right? It's a city, but then like places like California exist and Florida, and no taxes in Texas, like so it's hard, man. So yeah, that if we all hear the whispers already about Giannis. Bucks fans hate it, but it's true. If he looks at his team right now, Chris Middleton's 29, not bad, great Robin. Now, what's that? DiVincenzo, what's his name?
Dante DiVincenzo, yeah.
DiVincenzo, yeah. Him, like he's nice. Pat Connaughton's all right. These are good role players. And look at this is like
29.
Yeah, Bledsoe's fine. He's a starter, good starter. George Hill, great 6-man / starter. If Giannis looks at that and says, "Hey, this is fun, this is great, but I want more," you know what I mean? I've become a superstar now. I need more. Like, what does Milwaukee do then? But nobody wants to hear that. So sorry, Bucks fans. I'm not gonna harp on that. I don't know, man. Do you have any great Bucks memories about?
Great Bucks memories. I can't. I mean, I liked my personal. So I'm 32, and my first time really falling in love with basketball was that 96-97 draft with obviously Iverson and Ray Allen, and Stephon Marbury became a Knick, so I loved Marbury, but I really liked Ray Allen when he was on that team, and they had the stupid little deer on their jersey, which some people think is a fire jersey. I think it's kind of whack, but yeah, not much though. What about you?
I mean, those Bucks creamsicle. I mean, the cream uniforms they got now to throw city uniforms. Those are fire. Those are super fire.
Yeah.
Bucks memories. I mean, I enjoyed watching them lose to the Raptors last year. That was fun. Watching Kawhi give Giannis fits. No. I mean, that's the thing, man. It's just Bucks. Like, I give them full credit for slapping the Celtics around last year. And I blame Paul Pierce for having the audacity to say something stupid after one game, like it's over. We just saw it's over. So, congratulations.
Yeah. My only other Bucks memory, and we'll go into their bad draft picks. The only other thing that I'll say about the Bucks that I think is important is, are you familiar with 1972 when they could have had the Big O, Kareem, Julius Erving, Big Three?
No.
So, a little history lesson here. 1972, they the Bucks had just won a championship, and they had 2 picks in the first round. Back then, they only had like 15, 16 picks in the first round, and they'd fresh off a championship. They'd only been in the league for 4 years, right? This is important, James. So just bear with me. They had 25-year-old Kareem, first ring in his prime. They had Oscar Robertson, who was an all-star, 33 years old. He was a little past his prime, but he was still an all-star. and Dr. J was on the Virginia Squires and the ABA. So they had 2 picks in the first round. The final pick, which I think is the 16th, and like the 12th pick, and they took Dr. J, who was they had his eligibility. He was in Virginia, but he hadn't gone to the NBA. So they drafted 22-year-old Dr. J out of UMass. He was playing in Virginia. They got into a contract squabble, and he had actually signed a deal with the Hawks, and they went to like arbitration. They had some hearings. Ultimately, the judge ruled that he was the Bucks' property, but they argued and argued and argued. Eventually, they lost the draft rights. He ended up going to the Nets, but man, they would have had Kareem in his prime, Dr. J in his prime, and Oscar Robertson. Would have been one of the greatest big threes of all time, and probably doomed their franchise for another 40 years. So I just felt that was important to bring up because it changed the whole trajectory of their franchise.
All right, I give it to you. That's pretty interesting. That was a good one. I give it to you.
Hey man, could have had Dr. J.
I was ready to roast you for having a terrible waste of my time.
Nah, man, 1972 could have been the start of a Bucks legacy, but we can move on to their draft picks. Is there anything, when you think of the Bucks in the draft the last 5-10 years, is there anything that sticks out to you before we get into the details? Jabari Parker maybe, or like Yi Jianlan, or
so the thing about we can't. So we're talking about draft day stuff. They drafted Dirk and traded him for a tractor trailer.
Rest in peace, tractor trailer.
Yeah, that's always going to stand out. Tractor trailer was obviously a serviceable big man, but he wasn't Dirk. So that's one of those misses that you kind of scratch. One of the what ifs. Last 5-10 years though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because Jabari Parker hasn't worked out at all, but I think at the time he was almost like consensus. He was almost like in talks for the number 1 pick, so we can't kill. It's hard to kill him for that now.
Yeah.
Yi was a bad pick, obviously. Was he their pick?
I said that out loud, but
I thought he went to the Wizards, right? I thought it was a Wizards pick.
You know what?
Either way,
my gut was right. They did draft him in 2007, 6th overall.
They shipped him right out, right?
Yeah, he was gone within a year to the Wizards. That was the Greg Oden Durant draft. They took him 6. Honestly, the next 20 picks are pretty forgettable. It was Corey Brewer, Brandon Wright, Joakim Noah, Thaddeus Young, Al Thornton.
But see, like Noah, they picked Noah, and then what? They traded his draft rights to the Bulls.
No, I'm saying that those were the next picks after that.
Noah was a starter, and Noah was getting MVP votes.
Noah slipped though, as you remember. Noah stayed in college. He was supposed to be one of the top 2 picks, and he slipped for some reason after that. I think he wasn't as good the next year, even though they won it all. But yeah, like I said, Yi went 6, and then Corey Brewer 7, Noah 9, Hawes 10, Thaddeus Young 12. So it wasn't a super strong draft.
No, all right.
Looking over some, and they've also had some bad luck too. It's 2010, 15th pick, which is a great pick. They took Larry Sanders, who was a beast, and he just decided he wanted to smoke weed and he didn't want to play basketball, and he didn't want to confine himself to the rigors of the NBA life.
And you know what? That's not. Yeah, I guess it's bad luck, and that's them also not doing their due diligence, right? Because I think you kind of know when a player loves basketball. Right, I think you can kind of tell, and they try to it's like Andrew Bynum, right? Never loved the basketball. He was fine.
No,
never loved it. So,
yeah, I mean,
I give some more options for the worst picks.
Yeah, so I think we often will say that you can't really judge the last year or two, but they really have given this core nothing. Kevin Porter, 2019 last pick, they ended up trading that pick. DiVincenzo was giving them a little bit 2018, but DJ Wilson, 2017, 17th pick. Thon Maker, 2016, first-round pick. He's already gone. They did take Malcolm Brogdon, 36 overall, 2016, and that was a bummer they had to ship him out because who replaced him really on the cap? Eric Bledsoe? That's not a good – that they wish they still had Malcolm Brogdon.
I mean, was he a restricted free agent? Because
he got a monster offer, which I think
he got a monster deal from the Pacers. So like,
Whether I think it was restricted because I think they just ultimately decided not to match.
yeah.
Uh,
Or
Brogdon's contract.
they worked out like a sign and trade or some nonsense with him because like, all right, he's like, all right, we're not gonna pay you that much.
So I
Whatever.
think James, you probably feel this way too. I think contracts are obviously relative. Uh, Chris Middleton is obviously gonna be an outlier because you look at that number and you're like, holy shit, 5 years, 180. But all the rest of these are pretty reasonable in comparison. Like Brogdon's deal is 4 years, 85, which for what
Oh
he
yeah, that's fine.
is.
$21 million a year. Yeah, $21 million for Brogdon. That's great, actually.
Would you rather have? I know the answer to this, but would you rather have him for 4 years, 85, or Bledsoe for 4 years, 70? You know, like it's
Oh,
no comparison.
that's no comparison. I'd much rather have Brogdon. So
So that's a tough one. I would argue that's. I mean, you know what though? You're small, like you said earlier. When you're a small market, you have to pay. You have to overpay for role players, but also on the flip side, you have to know when to cut your cap and know when to get. You know, their Bucks ownership is smart. They know we can't have Giannis, um, Brogdon, Middleton on the cap. Like you're not gonna be able to fill your roster.
I know, man. It's just looking back. I think they had to pay Bledsoe the year before Brogdon. Is that right?
I wish I could
So,
just
cause right, I don't
give
know.
you the answer.
I have a feeling that came up first, and I would have let Bledsoe walk and just gave him Brogdon his money. But whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're so good. We're picking at nits right now, right? They're one
Look,
of the
if
best.
if
Yeah.
Bledsoe can give them energy and scoring, they're happy with it. I'm sure there are people in the organization who are kicking themselves because me and you watch basketball and we'd rather have Brogdon 10 times out of 10. But you know, we don't need to ramble on that. Obviously, Giannis, 2013, 15th overall pick was a steal, but honestly, Jimmer was 10th. That in 2011, that's a bust. John Henson, 2012, 14th, another
Jimmer, what a
whatever.
bust, dude. Jimmer is just like, I'm not gonna lie. I thought Trae Young was gonna be Jimmer this year. I'm glad he wasn't because yeah, Jimmer was at college phenom and got to the pros. Just too small, man. Too
Who did you
small.
have more hype for? Have this group of random hyped white college athletes? If I gave you these three, who did you have the most hope for in the NBA? Adam Morrison, JJ Redick, Jimmer Fredette.
None of them because I don't get hyped for
You
white
didn't think
athletes.
Adam Morrison was gonna be good?
I mean, with Adam Morrison, I kind of saw because like he wasn't a great shooter, right? You like JJ Redick's a great shooter.
Yeah.
You can just see it. The form is there, the footwork, the technique. Even in college, it was there. You know, he's coming off a pin downs, he's popping out, stopping on a dime. Adam Morrison he was 6'8", but he wasn't that fast, but he was taller than like most guards. He played the wing and the guard. So he was a scorer, but yeah, I don't know. I thought he'd be okay. I thought he'd be better than he was. I guess we'd say one of them. I say JJ. That's like I said I don't get hyped for it, but yeah, I never thought any of them would be world burners. I thought JJ would be maybe better than I thought he was going to be, but he's still very good. And I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you there. You know, it's interesting. We're going over these draft picks. There aren't a ton of, you know, because we like to try to pinpoint like what's their worth. Obviously, their best pick is Giannis. That doesn't need to be discussed. But I'm actually in total agreement with you in terms of Jabari Parker was a good pick. He was the right pick. He's versatile. He had moments with the Bulls where he was like 15 and 10.
Well, I think his first year in Milwaukee, first couple years in Milwaukee with Giannis, he was averaging like 19 or something. He looked fine. He blew his knee out. He started blowing his knee out, and that's where he had trouble, and that's where everything kind of fell apart. And
Yeah,
he couldn't defend. He couldn't defend for anything. So
yeah. I mean, his career numbers. Just talk about durability. I'm looking at the Basketball Reference page without even looking at anything else. Games played. Andrew Wiggins went first. 454 games. Jabari Parker 280 games. Joel Embiid 202 games played. So obviously durability has been an issue. He's a 15-6 career guy.
yeah, but let's be real. It makes no impact. He's a empty stats guy, right? Like he for every point he scores, he's giving away that point and another one. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
feel bad for him. He probably never had it's one of those cases. If he's drafted to another franchise, we might look at him different. You know, somebody that like he actually learns more how to be a basketball player instead of just being out there running up and down, dunking and scoring a little bit. Because I mean, the skill like you could squint at him and see Carmelo, but he just never had that kind of impact. Never had the kind of defense around him. So
yeah, I do think kind of circumstantially they've almost never in their entire in the Bucks' entire history, they haven't really drafted inside the top 5, really ever. This was legitimately in the last, obviously in the Giannis era, no chance. But Joe Alexander in '08, pick 8, 2007, pick 6. They did
that was
okay. What's up?
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say I forgot that they had the number 1 pick in '05 and they took Andrew Bogut, who all things considered had a good career. He was not a bust at all. Not a great
And he,
player, but
and he broke his arm too, really badly. I think he wasn't he an All-Star in Milwaukee? 20-10, 20-11 one year.
yeah.
I
So
think so.
Bogut didn't make an All-Star team, but in 7 years there, he was around 13-9.
What was his best year?
What's up? What was his best
What was
year?
his best season? Yeah.
His best year as a Buck was 16-10 with 2.5
Okay.
blocks a game. He actually won a blocks title.
Yeah. So he was actually really good until he fell and then snapped his arm, I think, right? And so whatever.
Dude, have you seen that video? That's a tough video to watch.
It is, and I almost feel bad for him, but now I know he's like an alt-right weirdo, so I don't care.
So, you know, going back in their history, they haven't had a ton of top 10 picks. They did take your boy TJ Ford in '03, number 8.
I'll say the worst pick is Joe Alexander because he
So
turned out
Joe
to be nothing.
Alexander, unequivocal
Yeah,
bust. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Who went 9 that year? Who went 9, 10, 11 that year?
so this was the Derrick Rose, Beasley, Westbrook, Love, Gallinari draft. So he went 8.
Sheesh.
Yeah. He went 8. DJ Augustine 9, Brook Lopez 10, Anthony Randolph ultimate bust 14, JaVale 18, Courtney Lee 22.
Excuse me. Hey, that's EuroLeague MVP Anthony Randolph to you.
I had high hopes for him, man. He was on the
Some
Knicks.
people just aren't meant to be NBA players, bro. You know, he's like only still like 28 or 27. He's still
I
like he's
believe
not that old.
I
That's
believe
crazy. No, I can't be right. Hold on. That was back in 2008,
he's probably, let's see.
12 years ago. That might be right, dude.
He probably
Maybe
came
he's
out straight out of
30.
high school, probably.
Yeah.
Anthony Randolph, I'm gonna guess he's like 30 or 31. He is 31.
Yeah, 31. So he's still only 31, and he's like still balling overseas. I'm gonna say Joe Alexander because he turned out to be nothing. Like I think he might have lasted a year there, maybe 2, and he was just nothing. I think he averaged like 8 points a game. He was so athletic in college. People thought he was, but yeah, that's a bad pick.
I'm gonna go a year later, and I'm gonna say Yi Jianlan because I was listening to a podcast with Chad Ford and Bill Simmons, and Chad Ford was like raving about Yi and how he was gonna be a stud, and he was taken 6th. He only lasted literally 1 year, and he averaged 9 points and 5 rebounds. They gave him 25 minutes a game. It's not like they didn't give him playing time. Traded him to New Jersey. Corey Brewer, Joakim Noah, Thaddeus Young, Bellinelli, Rudy Fernandez, Aaron
I mean,
Aflalo. These guys.
those are real NBA players. You know what I mean? That went behind him. So, but you listen to Chad Ford. Chad Ford is the same guy who went back on ESPN and was changing his draft write-ups.
Was he really?
I think that was him. Yeah. Oh, if I'm wrong, sorry, Chad. Yeah, he was going back and changing his I think either like the order and then even like some of his analysis like retroactively. Somebody was going back and taking screenshots. Like, nah, dude, you said this originally. And now you got this guy higher, this guy lower. Pretty sure that was Chad Ford.
Oh, that's trash. They did take Brandon Jennings, '09, 10th overall. I thought he won Rookie of the Year. I guess he didn't, but for some reason I thought he.
No, he had that one. He had like an early 50-point game. So, no, he never really panned out.
Yeah. So that's that kind of closes the book on their GOAT debate and their worst draft picks. So you think, honestly, unbiased, I know you're a Celtics fan, but do you think and do you expect the Bucks will represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals?
My bias is going to say I don't expect them to. I expect the Celtics to. Logically, though, I mean, if Giannis is who we think he is, and he is, he's been amazing. And that team has shown time and time again, like Giannis hasn't played fourth quarter sometimes because he played like 30 minutes a game because they were so dominant. This would be like it matters having the best player on the court. He will be the best player on any round in the East. So barring injury, they should. I think a team like the Raptors have multiple bodies to throw at him, and a team like the Celtics have multiple bodies, and they're deep and have the wings, have a lot more. Like outside of Giannis and Middleton, the Celtics have size at every position. I'm sorry, I guess outside center too. Brook Lopez is huge. But my point is, on the perimeter, the Celtics have so much size. The Raptors have so much size to throw at guys like Bledsoe and the other guys. So if you can make Giannis beat you, try to make a wall. Don't let him just get to the rim at will. Make them beat you from deep. Like, I think the Raptors and the Celtics kind of have the personnel. I don't know what to say about Philly. But, yes, I think right now, I mean, looking at how they played all year, like it would be a disappointment in Milwaukee if they don't make it.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. I don't think there's a great contender out there for them. I do think the Celtics are helped out by the fact that they don't have to play on the road, and they're terrible on the road. I think there are teams that are straight up more talented than the Bucks. Like I think the Sixers, if they get
whoa, who's terrible on the road?
The Sixers were terrible on the road.
Oh, you said Celtics. Okay.
Did I? Oh shit.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the Celtics. I was gonna say
got you.
The Sixers and the Celtics, I think, have just as much, if not more, talent. Apart from Giannis, like you said, every matchup they play, they're probably not going to have the second, third, fourth best player. Like when they play the Celtics, Jason Tatum is better than and Kemba are better than. I was gonna say better than Middleton.
I know. What'd you say earlier in the show? Can't be a hypocrite, buddy. No, because I mean, and that's the thing. Like Middleton. So from what we just saw of Tatum, right? February Tatum is better than Middleton. We don't know if that's not who Tatum is yet. So I hear what you're saying. But even so, let's say you said they have the first two best players in the team against the Celtics. I would say players 3 through 6 or 7 are Celtics. You know what I mean? So does that matter? Same thing with the Raptors, right? Sure, Middleton and Giannis probably better than anybody else in the Raptors, but players 3 through 7 or 8 might be all Raptors. So it's all about strength in numbers versus best player on the floor, and that's how it's going to pan out. Philly, like you said, Philly has two all-stars, one superstar. So one superstar and another all-star. And stars Embiid and then Ben Simmons. And then I don't know where you go with Philly after that. You know what I mean? They're paying Al Horford $100 million to come off the bench.
And like Thibault and
Thibault's fine, but yeah, he's a rookie. You know, Shake Milton, untested. You know, he had a couple great games to the end of the season, but like you telling me it's gonna be Shake, Thibault, Simmons at the power forward. I guess what's the guy's name? The two guard.
They traded a lot of their depth, man. Like Sarge is gone.
Josh Richardson.
Josh Richardson. That was a trade.
That was. It's just like that. The lineup is just so clunky, man. Shake, Richardson, Thibault, Simmons, and Embiid. Like, where's the shooting coming from? I guess you're hoping that you're just so big that you overwhelm teams with your size. I guess
they're shooting. They're shooting and let walk out the door, and they didn't resign.
I'm sorry. What am I talking about? Not Thibault. Tobias Harris is starting.
Tobias Harris. I've said this to you before. I would get rid of, if I had my choice of Tobias Harris or JJ Redick and Jimmy Butler. That's a no-brainer. I don't know why they didn't bring JJ Redick back. I don't know why they didn't. I think Jimmy Butler has done.
JJ was a free agent, and JJ left for more money.
Well, you don't think he's worth it to, they probably, let's say he got 20 and they only offer 15. He isn't worth the extra $5 million to you. Like, I'm surprised they didn't go the extra.
I mean, I think so, but they instead threw that money at Al Horford. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting when we do the Sixers because I've said this on this podcast that I think that Elton Brand, while I like him and I liked him as a player, I think he's done a pretty shitty job as an executive, and the stats back that up. But hey,
this playoffs is going to be a referendum on them. If they actually pull it out and say they get it together and get to the ECF, Eastern Conference Finals, then you got to kind of say, okay, maybe they got something here. If they don't, let's say they flame out in the second round, then you look at their roster, who they're paying for, and what they're doing, and you wonder, oh crap, what happens next? So I'm a withhold judgment because I like Elton Brand. So.
Yeah, cool. That's pretty much it. Any final thoughts on this or the bubble or just what's going on in the world? Anything on your mind?
No, I'm just excited to see basketball again. I've been really working on my nap skills. Every day I get home from work and I take like a good 2.5 hour nap. So I think I might actually go sweat a little bit now, but that's it, man. Like it's funny because I almost feel like the NBA is like, we get addicted to it. We love it. I feel like for me, the 4-month break broke my addiction. So I'm interested in watching it. But right now, with everything that's going on in the world, it's hard for me to really be passionate about it. You know what I mean? I was watching these games, and I'll say this: I'm impressed with how the scrimmages look so far. We all worried about the distractions and no fans and how it's going to be so different. But I think we're all enjoying the games, and I think that it's not that different, right? We're learning it's not that different in an empty stadium. And, a little piping noise and music every now and then, and that's I'm fine with it. But yeah, just that long break. It's like if you're trying to read a book and you put the book down for 3 months and you pick it up, you're reading it, like, all right, you kind of, but like you've lost the momentum, and that's what I feel. The season lost the momentum to me. So I'm gonna watch. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think they should be playing, but whatever they are. So what you gonna do? I'll watch. I just don't have that. I was so excited to begin the season about the Celtics winning championship, and I like to see them win. But if they don't, I don't know. This is such a weird situation.
No matter how good they try to make it, no matter how professional looking, it looks like summer league out there. Like it just aesthetically looks like summer league.
Well, and a big part of that is scrimmages, right? These are scrimmages. These guys aren't going. Hey, did you see Giannis get dunked on today?
He got dunked on. I saw him throw down like a 8-7.
Oh no! Giannis got murdered today.
Who dunked on him?
I want you. It's some guy named something Eubanks. Some unknown.
Devin Ebanks, maybe.
Is that his name? Well, it's a white guy.
Oh shit!
No, Devin Ebanks was an old Laker player. He's not around anymore, I don't think. Hey, go I want you to find the video right now if you want to record. I want you to get your face recorded.
I mean, I'm sure it's like all over Instagram. Did this happen?
Yes, it happened this afternoon when they were playing. So he's obviously a Spur player, right? Because they were playing the Spurs. So I don't think he.
Let's see. This weirdly. How am I typing in? Come on, it's someone said oh dear. Damn. And then Giannis did the whole like I'm hurt thing, which
he did no he. So I made sure I didn't comment, but I think he bounced his head off the ground. Watch when he comes down. He bounces his head, and so probably he was shaking up. It looks like it, but
the caption here is "Oh dear," which is like a perfect. I don't know who that guy is. He's number 14 on the Bucks.
It's something like Eubanks. So actually, I take back what I said about Giannis. You don't get dunked on like that, and you're not in the running for being a franchise.
Oh no, this wasn't on Giannis. This was on Thanasis.
Oh, that was Thanasis?
His brother. Yeah. He did.
Aww.
I know this isn't gonna make good TV, but
no, get out of here! I'll put out.
Right.
You can get yourself hit with a freaking copyright claim.
Yeah, you're right.
That's fine.
The DMCA request. I've seen enough people cry about that on Twitter. Yeah, this was on Thanasis Antetokounmpo, his brother.
Oh man! All right, well, don't cut it out. I got excited about Giannis getting dunked on.
Well, somebody named Antetokounmpo got dunked on, so that's
same thing. Close enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know what, man? I don't know, man. The bad teams the first couple of teams were interesting. That last team sucked that we did. Who's the last team we did?
We did the Hornets, the Bucks, the Hawks.
The Hawks. The Hawks. We get off the rails on the Hawks. So even the good teams kind of suck because this team sucks. It wasn't fun to do this one either. We got 5. Next one we'll have fun.
You know what? You know what was actually the closest call probably was the Suns because it wasn't like people on Twitter were a little divided. Some people said Steve Nash, some people said Charles Barkley. I think you said Nash and I said Barkley, or maybe it was the opposite. But a lot of these have not been close calls.
Hey, all the people who listen to this guy on this podcast, reach out to O'Shea Jackson, Ice Cube's son. Reach out to him and tell him he's come on the Lakers pod with us. So anybody listening, you guys make sure you at O'Shea Jackson and say, hey man, when are you doing the pod with Snottie and Flagrant too?
I might have to make this clip and just at him directly and see if he wants to smoke. I think he does. So we'll see.
O'Shea, you're my guy, buddy. Come on, let's talk some basketball, bro. We got you. You let us know when we'll make it work.
That's what we do. We talk basketball here, and cool, man. James, thanks for coming on again. We're gonna continue to do good teams so that after you wake up from your nap, you'll be alert. You'll be excited.
I'm sorry, I didn't bring the energy today, man. I was supposed to be like Marcus Smart today and bring the hype. I didn't bring it today, man. I was more like Marvin Williams today. I was just like low key.
Look, you don't have to be Marcus Smart. You're not going into the stands. You're not punching any fans or anything. So that's good. None of that.
Yeah, but I'm supposed to bring that energy, right? And just like get the pod going. I didn't do it today. I was like Harrison Barnes today. My bad.
Are you Harrison Barnes on the Kings, or are you Harrison Barnes on the Warriors? Are you Harrison Barnes when he signed a contract?
All of them, because in any of them, Harrison Barnes is going to be underwhelming. So I'm Harrison Barnes in general.
All right. Well, we got it. We got another good pod in, sir. Thank you for joining. We'll be back soon. Hopefully with some special guests. Wink, wink. And yeah, man, we'll talk soon. Well, where the people can find you at on Twitter?
Twitter, that's it. Snottie Drippen, you'll see it. Instagram too, if you want. I guess that's fun.
All right, we'll be there. You can find us at the Flagrant _2, and we'll be back soon. Take care, everybody.